In this video, I'm going to detail how a debt is created and all of the steps that a debt can go through. And when a debt goes bad, all of the different opportunities that you have that are available to you to deal with that debt. There's several levels. A lot of times people don't understand where they are with the debt that they have when it goes bad, because if a debt is paid, then we don't have that problem. But when a debt goes bad, a lot of people get frustrated because they're like, I don't know where this debt is, who owns it, what I got to do at this point, what I got to do at that point. And I'm going to kind of detail and show you the flow chart of what a debt goes through. And this is some of the things that us at the Credit Repair Shop, what we have to figure out when we're working on an individual's credit, when we're helping a person get out of debt, where their debt is in the process. Because it's not just simply a debt goes bad and it's just sent off to a debt collector. There is a process, and with each process, you have certain rights according to the Fair Debt Collectors Practices Act, according to the Fair Debt Collectors Practices Act, and also according to consumer laws that protect us all. Now, just in case you don't know who I am, my name is Stephen A. Williams. I'm the president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. I've been helping individuals and families repair their credit and get out of debt going on 20 years now. And before I get started, I want to let you know, as a man, so this is me talking to men, and I'm going to talk to women in a second too, but I believe that this is very important because I believe it's important to, number one, acknowledge that you, as a man, has the power and authority and the ability to do whatever you put your mind to help yourself repair your credit and get out of debt and to be able to move forward in your life. That you have that power, you have that ability inside of you. And what I want to do is I want to enlighten you on the situations, because everything really comes down to situations. And if you're a sports fan, they'll be like, well, the situation wasn't right for that player, or the situation was right. And in a sense, this is like playing sports, because whatever the situation is pertaining to your debt, pertaining to your credit, a certain play must be ran to be able to accomplish what needs to be accomplished. And for the women that are listening to this and watching this video, the work that you do, people around you, your children, your spouse, your friends, they will admire you because you're going to show them a strength that probably none of them had ever thought that you had, and none of them thought that they had it within them. They're going to look at you as that special person. They're going to say that there was something that they always thought about you, because when it came to things, especially when it comes down to money, and I don't know if you felt comfortable talking to your friends and family about your financial situation and your credit situation, but even if you didn't at a specific time, but in the future, when you let them know how you were able to work your way out of it, how you were able to repair your credit, get out of debt, because you put in that work, you put in that, that strength. They're going to admire you for that. They're going to, show that you are appreciated because you were someone who actually did not quit. So that's why I make these videos, because I want to empower people. I want to have people feel it, have that admiration, because I felt it when people come to me, even business people that I never thought would come to me and ask me questions about debt and credit. I felt empowered, and the only reason I wasn't empowered because I was something special other than you. It was because I put in the work and I understood that if I put my mind to it, I was going to be able to accomplish it. So let's get right down to it. And in this video, I'm going to this is going to be a 2-part video, because it would be like a 10-hour long video probably to be able to go through all of the consumer protections, all of the Fair Debt Collectors Practices Act protections, and all of the protections that you would have with Fair Credit Reporting Act. But I'm going to show you the path of a debt, and I'm going to talk about the frustration that comes with it and what you could do to work your way out of that situation if your situation is one of the ones that I'm describing. So first, when it comes to debt, a debt is created. You get credit, and that debt is created. So don't let anyone fool you. Don't let anyone say that debt is not created, or you are the creditor and all of that stuff. And this is that it's this way. When people do that, they're taking away your power, because you know what you're going through right now. So don't let your lying eyes are not lying to you. Those lying words that other people are telling you are lying to you about what you're going through. So here we go here. Debt is created. So you get a loan, get credit, whatever it is. If everything goes the way that it should go, you're going to pay it back in full, and the cycle of that debt will stop. The cycle of that debt will stop. So now let's go through what could happen if you miss a debt, the payment on a debt, and default. So obviously, if you miss payments, that information is going to be reported on your credit reports. So that's something that will happen. If you miss a payment, it's going to be reported on your credit reports. But now let's look at this right here. Sorry, my screen was getting a little dark there. So if you default on a payment, depending on what type of credit debt was created, it's going to take a certain path. So if it's a secured debt, like an automobile, a car, something that is secured, there's going to be a repossession process. According to your state laws, the repossession process could be different depending on where you live, what state you live in. In some states, they notify you that they're going to repossess the vehicle, but they give you a right to cure. A right to cure means that they're going to give you time to come up with the payment. So even if they don't come and take the vehicle, they're going to still tell you that the vehicle is going to be repossessed, and they're going to give you some time to cure it. In some states, they'll just come repossess the vehicle, and then they will hold the vehicle and give you the right to cure the back payments. With the conversation that I had with an individual in the state of Michigan, Michigan gives a lot of power to the automobile makers and finance companies. You'll see like the automobile makers in those states also do a lot of lending nationwide. But in their state of Michigan, they give them extra powers. And here's something that they can do in the state of Michigan, is that if you miss those payments and they repossess the vehicle, you will only have a certain amount of days, not months, a certain amount of days to pay the payments, to make up the late payments. Now, here's something that is also unique to their state. And it could also be the same in your state, but I'm going to specifically talk about what we recently did an evaluation for an individual who got their car repoed in the state of Michigan, is that when they repoed the vehicle, they gave a redeeming period, but it was only a small amount of days. It was not months or weeks like it is in other states. So they held the vehicle. They said that they're going to sell the vehicle. So now this redeeming, where it has it shown here, redeeming and reinstatement, in their state of Michigan, they said, hey, you just got to get a whole nother loan. You had to get a whole nother loan. But the problem was credit was messed up. So he couldn't get another loan. But if he was able to get another loan, he would get another loan. It would pay that original debt off, and he would have another payment. He would be starting the cycle over again. They said, though, also, to redeem it, you had to pay the repo man, all of the deficiencies, and the legal fees. And they had some other fees that they had included in there. So it would have to be all of the months that were missed. It would have to be the legal fees that they utilized to be able to get the paperwork for the repossession put together. And they also wanted the repo man to be paid. And I forgot, the storage fee. So for that individual to be able to redeem the vehicle, they had to pay all of that stuff. In some states, you don't have to pay all of that stuff. The lender would incur some of that, some of those fees. They cannot pass them on to the individual. So if it's repossessed and it is not redeemed, then it's going to go to a sale. And the deficiency balance, if there's no deficiency, which I've had some situations where there was no deficiency, the individual the debt would stop right there. If there is a deficiency, this is where it starts to get very interesting. You will have the opportunity to pay it. They will send you an auction statement, and this goes into the laws that are required. So let's talk about what is required if they go through with the repo sale. They must give you a complete rundown of what happened at that auction. You need to know exactly what that vehicle sold for. Everything. They cannot hide that from you, because if they hide that from you, you could be paying a deficiency when you did not have a deficiency. And you might be saying, well, Steve, how could that happen? I don't know how it happens. I have my own, I suspect how it happens, but I won't get into that because I don't want to have any lawsuits or any accusations thrown at us. But it has happened. I've actually helped clients who they said they had a deficiency balance. We did a review with the lender and found out that after the repo sale, there was no deficiency balance. And if you remember back when the Santander issue was going on, that was even really crazy. I won't get into that right now. So if you have a deficiency balance, this is going to be the route that it would take. It would go into either an in-house collection, but in most states, lenders cannot act as a debt collector. So what they're going to do is they're going to get an outside debt collector. And the debt collector is going to start to send letters and start to call you and start to text you, start to DM you. And then if they hire a debt collector, this is what they're going to be doing. So if they cannot get anything done after a certain period of time, because they're not going to put as much pressure, even though it may feel like it, they're not going to put as much pressure as a debt collector who buys the debt would be putting on you. So after a certain period of time, they will send that back to their in-house collections department. And when I say in-house collections department, they're not, it's just where they maintain the debts that have went into charge-off status. That's what it is for their record keeping. So that's the process. Now, within that, you're going to have rights within all of this in the process, because you're going to be very emotional at this point. Once it starts to get to these departments here within these collection, in these hired debt collection companies or attorneys, that's when you would request that if you did not do it at this point or did not receive it, that's when you would be getting that information about what happened at the auction, because that's when you're going to need to know. Now, there's other options that are available to you to deal with that debt when it hits these points, but I won't go into those details. I do have other videos on those, but just so we know, the vehicle was sold. It went to the in-house collection. Depending on your state, they may not be able to act as a debt collector. Like in my state of Wisconsin, they cannot act as a debt collector. So they're going to get an outside attorney or outside debt collector to send you letters, try to collect on the debt. They're going to call, they're going to text, contact your references that you put on your application, all that type of stuff to get in touch with you. And they could choose to go ahead and sue you, and that process would come from this here, where they would say, okay, hey, it's not happening. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and just get a collection firm, have them do some more letters, because they have to, again, when a collection firm gets it, they cannot take the word of the creditor. They have to go through the process of sending out the letters, the calls, giving you the opportunity to dispute the debt. So if they go ahead and say, hey, we couldn't collect on it, we're going to go ahead and send it over to an attorney. They're going to do their stuff. They're going to do a lawsuit. If you put in a defense, you could potentially win. Very important. Remember, Summons Master, that's over here. You can use Summons Master. Does not matter if it's an original creditor or a debt collector. If you put together a defense, it could potentially stop the case. If you lose the case and you get a judgment, or if you don't put in a defense, you will get a default judgment. The options that the law firm will have to collect the money for the original creditor is a garnishment, freeze your bank account, take assets. You do have opportunity to put forth your exemptions that might be available to you if you have them. If not, they're going to end up garnishing your wages or freezing your bank account and garnishing your bank account. So now let's move back up here. Let's say that all of this stuff does not happen, and it's the type of company that does not keep their debt. They'll might take one swing at the bat, can't get anything. They're going to go ahead and just sell it off. I can tell you right now, the companies that will keep their debts it's going to be credit unions will keep their debts, and they'll hire out to law firms to collect on it, to take lawsuits and collect on it. You got American Express, you got Barclays, you got Capital One, you have Discover, which is now Capital One. These companies, and there's a few other ones, original creditors, they will hire attorneys and go directly after you. They will not sell the debt in 99.9% of the instances. So now let's say that the in-house team, they're not the type of company that's going to go out there and try to hire an attorney to collect on the debt. What they're going to do next is they're going to send that account, and that account is in a charge-off status. They're going to send that charged-off account over to a portfolio. They're going to put it available to debt buyers, which are portfolio buyers, and then it's going to be sold to the portfolio company. Portfolio company either has their own companies that they deal with, that they have go out there and try to collect on the debt. They're just like the LLCs of the main portfolio company, or they're debt buyers and they put it on the market for companies, not for people, for companies, debt collection companies to go out there and buy the debt in bulk. Now, just so you know, this is something that, people be like, they're buying a debt for pennies on the dollar. Yes, they're buying a debt for pennies on the dollar, but there is no portfolio. And I was secretly spying in a network of debt collection companies and portfolio buyers for debt. And I'm here to tell you there was no portfolio that was available for less than $500,000. There was no portfolio that was available for less than $500,000. So understand, anyone, even if it was you, me, anyone, any company who's going to spend $500,000 plus to buy a debt portfolio, you know that they're going to take it very serious. $500,000. I don't know if you got $500,000 just sitting on the table to do nothing with, and I'm pretty sure their investors put that money up and they want to make money on that money. So just because they bought the debt for pennies on the dollar does not mean that they're not going to put everything into it that they can to collect every penny of it. But because they're doing that, it gives you rights. In between this whole process of the original creditor selling that debt to a debt collection company or a portfolio buyer, there is a whole string of rights, that are available to you that they must comply with. Conformity. They have to show chain of custody. They have to show the sale document. There's a whole bunch of stuff that they have to do. And there's a whole bunch of other documents that have to be transferred, because when they send it over to here, to this collection law firm, to go out there and collect on the debt, which is going to start with sending more letters, calls, text, direct messages, all of that stuff, trying to hunt you down to collect on the debt. They cannot just go out there and do that without, and go and file a lawsuit without certain documentation. I admit the documentation, because the Supreme Court has made it very weak. The documentation is very weak, but It's very weak because most people never do anything when it comes to, number one, a debt collector calling them, because you can take care of a lot of this stuff early if you do what I'm going to tell you to do in a few minutes. You can do it before it even gets to a lawsuit. But even if it gets to a lawsuit, 99.9%, it's really higher than that. Don't even put forth a defense, so they don't have to worry about this. It's like, don't worry about something that you don't have to worry about. That's how you are right now. That's how we all are as humans. If it's something that is not going to have to be something that you got to worry about, most of the time we're not going to worry about it. We're going to put it in the back of our mind. Haven't you done that before? If it's like something that you don't want to deal with or something that you don't want to worry about, you put it in the back of your mind. For these debt collection attorneys, debt collection companies, they know that they don't have to worry about most people knowing their rights. They don't have to worry about most people knowing what to do. They don't have to worry about most people putting up a defense if they sue them. That's why they've made billions of dollars doing this stuff. So when they're going to do their little thing over here with the letters, calls, text, direct messages, there's more things that they can do now than when this graph was made up. And then if you don't respond, they're going to threaten to sue you, and then they're going to, and by them making a threat to sue you, goes into your rights under the FDCPA, because if they don't sue you and they threaten to sue you, after a certain period of time, that threat could actually make this debt go away. You can watch some of my other videos when I do go into more detail about that on the creditrepairshop.com YouTube channel. So now, if they sue you, you must put forth a defense. The defense is going to be based basically off of everything that they had to do in these two categories. And if you don't do anything, you're going to get a judgment. So if you look at this right now, if we look at this, when they do the lawsuit, look at these two right here. What I want you to pay attention is that right at that point, you have the scales even. But look at how, if you just X out defense, look at how weighted the scale gets for them. And there's actually another one here. It's assets. And when they say freeze bank account, it's more than freeze. They're going to freeze it, and they're going to get that with that writ of garnishment to take the money out of the account. Most state laws have changed since this graph was made a number of years ago. If they get the judgment, they give them about 30 days for you to do something, but they freeze the account. Most states are just allowing them, once they get the judgment, to just, if they find your account, they just go in there with a writ of garnishment and take the money out of it. You will literally wake up and the money is gone. As a matter of fact, I got right here in my hands, young lady, she was sued by Portfolio Recovery Associates. We got a notice of voluntary dismissal of garnishment and all of her money back at $13,000. What did she do wrong? She did not respond right here. She got sued, got a judgment. They garnished the money from her bank account. She did not qualify for any exemptions, so they were taking the money out of her account. Right here, I got the letters that came in yesterday, over $13,000. They were the judgment was over $13,000, but they were garnishing money out of her account. The judge had 3 stipulations: writ of garnishment taken away as of, it says here, garnishment, voluntary dismissal, and that all dispersed funds be given back to the defendant. And the whole case is over. They cannot bring this back at all. But that only happens when you know your rights. But it's very hard to know your rights. Just with this in the study guide that I was going through, that I've utilized over the years, this one here, if you were to look at the pages on what you got to read and what you have to do, you have to love to do this. If you don't love to do it, it's going to rack your brain. It's going to rack your brain. So with that understanding, that's why we had made the service to help people with debt and debt collection lawsuits with the Credit Repair Shop, and now with SummonSmaster.com. So The first step, if you have charged off accounts, it's just charged off. It could be a collection from unsecured debt. It could be secured debt that has been repossessed. We take care of all of that stuff with our credit repair process with the creditrepairshop.com. So first, I'll start with, if you need help with your credit, visit us at the creditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different, where I detail my 8-point validation process, which goes into this right here with all of the laws on how we apply the laws to deal with this. 8-point validation process and my 2-phase settlement process, which goes into what I had talked about right here if you ever had to settle a deficiency balance or if you had to settle an account to be able to move forward. We help with that. But also with that, there's a process which I had showed here when they're sending letters there, and when they're sending letters here, there's a process regardless if you had the debt or not. If they do not respond to that process, it can make the whole debt go away. And so I'm going to give you options on that in a minute. So we take care of that with the creditrepairshop.com. So if you need help with your credit, go to the creditrepairshop.com, watch the video, What Makes It Different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my 2-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website, your3scores.com. It's on the screen here. Get your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports and all three scores. We're going to need that to be able to let you know how we can help you. If you have debt collectors who are suing you, you have two choices. You can first grab my 3-pack of letters, statute of limitations, debt validation, cease and desist, collection activities letter. You got to put in your information, do all the stuff on there. I'm giving you the template. I do ask for a donation on those. Someone gave me a $50 donation on those. But why would they give me a $50 donation? Because if they could use that letter to stop a debt collection that's, $100, well, not $100, I'm pretty sure, but like $500, $1,000, $2,000. With that one simple letter, it's worth $50 to them. So I thank you for that. I won't mention your name, but I acknowledge you and thank you, because that helps me know that you really appreciate the information that I'm giving you. Those 3 letters, statute of limitations, debt validation, cease and desist, collection activities letter, can stop debt collectors if you get aggressive with them with those letters. That could start the process of what you have to understand and know where you're at in the process, what I was talking about right here, because that's what frustrates people. They don't know where they're at in this process. They just think it's a debt collection letter, but you could be in the deficiency part where they done sold it from a repo. If they sold it from a repo and they're only talking about the debt, there's a whole bunch of documents that they're supposed to give you in between that. That's why it's very important. Those letters will help you get started. But let's just say you're like, hey, I don't want to learn nothing. I don't want to type nothing. I don't want to do anything. Just help me with this. We do it with the Credit Repair Shop, or you can upload it if you don't want anyone in your business. You just want to upload your letters. You can go to summonsmaster.com, upload your debt collection letter. All you need is that debt collection letter. Put it as a PDF or put it as an image. It just needs to be one file, one letter. Upload it in the Summons Master debt collection section, debt validation section. It'll create a debt validation letter that will stop debt collectors in their track. They will know that they're not dealing with someone who is on that other end that doesn't do anything. And yes, we have follow-up service for when they follow up with that letter. You'll be like, Steve, what do I got to do next? I tell you what to do next. Don't worry about that. I got you covered. The next thing is, if you're being sued by a debt collector, remember I talked about that right here. We don't want to get a judgment. We want to defend. Look at that. The arrow says if you defenses, it can stop it. Look at that. Lawsuit, defenses could stop. This is the way that the law is designed. But you don't know what to do, what to say, how to say it. You don't even want to have to say anything. I was talking with a client yesterday. He was like, Steve, man, the response that was created with Summons Master, they didn't get the default judgment. It made them have to push it out a whole nother 2 months. And he was like, what do I do next? Do I have to say anything? They said that we're going to have a Zoom call. What do I got to say? I said, it's written for you. You don't have to say anything. Summons, so you upload your summons, a PDF file. It has to be one complete PDF file. If you need help, we can do that for you. I even show you instructions on the website. You upload it. It will create a fully formatted, court-ready, legal response to every allegation and a defense to help you win your case. And I got proof that it works for cases all the way up to $141,000. That is the highest one that we just won. And if you already got a default judgment, go to summonsmaster.com in the contact us spot. Put your information in there. Tell us you got a default judgment. We will call you and we will help you get this. If they're already taking money from you and you had a default judgment, we will get your money back. We will get that case dismissed. Go to summonsmaster.com. The links and everything is shown right here below me. Thank you for your time. Subscribe to my channel. Post your questions and comments. Like this video. This is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com, founder and creator of summonsmaster.com. Thank you.